Welcome back to Automation Stage. Now we're going to have another presentation by Baris, who is a managing partner at Test and he will be presenting his talk, Why is Test Automation Still Manual and How to Make it Really Automated. Barry?
Thank you, Nikolai, for the presenting me. So, is my, I think, third time in TestCon. Uh, I have been on stage, I think it was 2017-18. Also, we did a hackathon on test automation. I remember good old days. So today I am also will be talking about test automation, but from another perspective, let me say. So sharing my screen to you, and let's move on. Okay, the subject is clear, I guess. Test automation, we expect it to be automated, but is it really automated? If you think about the whole process and how can we make it automated, what are the things that we need to consider? So I want to talk about those things. Yeah, it's my 21st year in the sector, basically, being into different countries and different companies, and doing a lot of testing in so many different domains. Authored some books, write lots of papers, try to contribute to the field by also being on the stage, like TestCon stage. So let us first start with the uh, terminology. So what really automation means? Based on the Oxford Dictionary, it says that automation is the use of machines and computers to do work that was previously done by people. Very clear, I think. So automation, in order to talk about automation, it means that some manual work done by real humans would be shifting to computers or machines. Nice. So by keeping this in our minds, let's move on the next subject and ask people. There are numerous, by the way, surveys and research on test automation where they are asking people whether they do automation, whether it is important to them or not. One of the nice surveys are QA intelligence survey, which is quite on the stage for a while. So they asked people whether they do test automation. Most of the people say yes. Some minority says no. Even the numbers are also growing in the favor of yes, of course. And some people even says don't know. Yeah, those are, I think, in a bad condition right now. Whether you do automation or not, if you don't know it, is a different level of ignorance could be. And also another nice survey, which is about generally software testing, and they are ISTQBs every year doing those research and markets research, and they ask people very frequently, where do you do investment in software testing? And for maybe the last 5 to 10 years, the number one bullet is always tooling and automation, tooling and automation. So it means that we try to uh, get rid of at least some of our manual efforts, and we try to do those things with tools, and we try to automate our processes. So it means that we heavily investing on automation. Okay, very nice. But what about the current uh, activities, tasks of test automation? So what we are dealing with in our daily routine? So what do we do in test automation? When I list some activities there, I see that we have test automation decision. So you need to decide whether you do test automation or not, or to what extent. So this decision is, logically it is manual. So it's just a human-made process, and there is no real automation in this process, which is, by the way, a big portion of our efforts. Secondly, tool selection. Yeah, tool selection is also an important part of the story. So if you do test automation, you need to pick a fitting tool or tools in order to support your process. So that tool is one of the vital parts of test automation. And when we check this activity, it is done manually most of the times. Yeah, third one would be the training on test automation. So people are heavily investing themselves. They try to understand test automation. They try to uh, got some training, and those trainings, yeah, most probably they are on the manual zone. So what about test automation planning and estimation? So we try to plan automation, we try to schedule it, we try to give some estimates, we try to put some deadlines, milestones, and those things from a project management perspective, we do them in most of the cases manually. So until now, there is no automated activity. So what about, okay, now we planned our project, we are ready to go. We need to design our test cases for automation. So what kind of test cases we will be automating, and to what extent, and how will be the structure of those test cases? So mostly we do those things mostly manually. I don't say that 100%, but most of the cases we design test cases in a manual manner. So that is also another big effort, but mostly manual effort. So when we come to automating those test cases, yeah, I accept that there is some visibility on that zone, so that we do it still by hand coding, doing hand scripting in tools, but also we can use some codeless automation platforms, so that they also we use some record and playback mechanisms and so on. Could say that is half automated, half manual. Could be even worse, but yeah, let me be optimistic on this subject. So automating test cases, like half half. So what about test data? I think one of the most problematic part of software testing, consuming around half of every tester's daily efforts, but we are not aware of it. So it is just undervalued, and it is under prioritized. So test data is always a headache, is always one of the highest critical problems and struggles. Uh, and I cannot say that we are fully automating that part. So designing and implementing test data, generating test data, still a lot of times we do it manually by running some scripts, trying to capture some data, extract it, to mask it, to insert to another medium, and to use it in a web, in a test script, and so on. So most of the maybe those efforts are still manual. Some of them, yeah, of course, automated, but we want it to be more automated for sure. Yeah, at least we come to a point where I feel that it should be automated, executing side. So basically running the test cases should be automated, if I'm not wrong. So in most of the cases is automated, yes, but it's just a couple of hours or some minutes when you see the grade and the effort that is being there. So it's just, yeah, is happens really quickly, is the advantages side of automation. But yeah, it is the automated activity, basically. Very nice. What about reporting the bugs? Maybe not for all automation activities we aim to find bugs, but also, yeah, from time to time we aim to do so. So that means that reporting bugs is the critical part of automation. In some cases, we do it in an automated manner, but in some cases, we still do it manually, unfortunately. It needs to be improved as well. What about reporting? So, when a test automation activity is finished, or the running and executing of the scripts are done, most of the cases in an automated way we have a report that could be even sent to some stakeholders so that they see the results, how many scripts were there, in what period of time they run, also what are the outcome of those test cases, how many of them passing, how many of them failing, so on and so forth. Mostly automated. Of course there is improvement on that zone. And what about analyzing bugs? So yeah, after you report the bugs in a manual or automated way, someone should come and check if it is a real bug or not, or how can I debug it, or those kind of things in order to resolve the bug. So analyzing bugs, unfortunately, is done mostly manually, which is, by the way, one of the biggest parts of this story. So if you come up with in this distinct run, if I come up with 100 failing test cases with several bugs, you need someone should go over those bugs, if they are real bugs or not, or they are duplicated or intermittent, or they can be reproducible. Those things mostly done on a manual way. Okay, so what else? And also maintenance and fixation of the test scripts. I think you will agree with me. Most of the cases, testers, they do maintenance in a manual way. So they maintain their scripts, and also they fix some of their automated tests. And we do it manually in most of the cases. Yeah, we use a lot of different frameworks like data-driven automation, keyword-driven automation, model-based automation, some hybrid frameworks as well, in order to keep our test cases small and up to date, and also concrete. But still, every test case, whether it is so small, and also we applied all the smart frameworks on the test case, they need some maintenance. Unfortunately, it's like a plant. You is like a tree you planted on soil. So each and every kind of a plant requires water. So that is the problem. So that we do it in a most manual way. So in the end, on the left side, what we dream of; on the right side, what is reality. So this is, I think, this shows test automation in a really good way. In most of the cases, we don't hit the spot. So our expectations were really higher, but yeah, unfortunately, we were not able to reach those things. Why? Because we have so many struggles. A lot of people says that we don't have really solid processes. We don't have solid uh, test processes. Is very important. If you want to do good test automation, you need to have test processes. It means that you need to do, if you do good manual testing, then your expectations or your probability chances of doing good test automation is higher for sure. But if your manual testing is not in a good shape, then you cannot be sure that what will happen to you with test automation. Tool selection, lack of skilled people, also maintaining test cases, finding proper test data. We have unrealistic expectations. A lot of upper managers who are funding test automation, they expect us to uh, just have benefits, or show them the return on investment in a couple of weeks, but yeah, is never the case. It means that Test automation is a mid to long term investment. It's not a short term investment. In short term, it just brings you sweat, struggles, headache, discussions, some fight, some not understood parts, uncertainty, some surprises, some failures, but in the short term, most of the cases it doesn't bring you value. So you need to be patient about those, but not most of the stakeholders are really patient, or sponsors. We have still legacy systems. Not all the systems are really come with an open architecture, so that we need to also test those systems. What can we do? Okay, so before diving deep into this area, I think one person doing test automation, investing himself or herself in test automation, should answer this question: what is the objective of test automation? Why do we do test automation? In most of the companies, I am a consultant and I do consultancy maybe currently in more than 10 countries. At the same time, those people, those teams, they are consulting me on that subject. And objectives, I don't feel that their objectives are really clear. So what would they improve? How would they convince themselves that they are doing good automation is not clear for people. Not in the managerial part, not also in the junior level, is not clearly understood, is also another headache. So which means that for test automation, in order a test automation to be good test automation, it needs to save you manual efforts, so that people will be putting effort on some other more critical and strategical tasks, whereas those redundant activities would be done by a computer, would be maybe the first bullet that should come up. Depending less on uh, domain knowledge or human testers is also could be another case, because we try to avoid heroic organizations. We don't want heroes in our teams. We want processes, and we want those processes. We want people to follow processes. When someone leaves the team, then we need to not everything should be spoiled, but we need to continue working. So depending less on humans, okay. With test automation, you can test earlier, you can test more, could be coverage in another perspective. Yeah, but I don't like that metric so much, by the way. Test coverage, they talk about it, but why test coverage? If it is not smart to cover more and more parts of systems with automation scripts, is it the really case? Is it really making sense, or is it really saving you things? I don't know, but okay, testing more is important. Testing faster, for sure. A human being has some limitations, of course, but the devices, even with parallel computing or those grid structures and virtual devices, you can test faster, more frequently, for sure. And also, we try to have less mistakes, because if you have a human being in the picture, it means that you have human-made errors. With a device, it doesn't require, of course, it doesn't tells you that because that it is done by a computer, it is correct. It is not the case, for sure, but still, at least if we automate things, we want them to have less mistakes. And also, why we are doing test automation for, from time to time, try to build confidence on the system under test. It means that we do test automation in order to have a confidence on a system, or else we do it for finding bugs, could be the case. So in the end, there are many objectives of test automation, telling us where to go, what to measure, what to expect from automation. But again, I'm telling it in mid to long term. So there will not be happens in a very short term. So that is the fact, basically. So, and in order to be successful in automation, I think these could be purely applicable. You need to keep this in mind. Any test automation activity should bring you value. If you are not measuring return on investment on the previous slide, those factors, and if they don't feel that if you see that they don't create enough value, then why do you automate? In most of the teams, when you ask the question, it's like, do you do automation? Yes. Test automation? Yes. Why? In most of the cases, the answer is because I can. It shouldn't be like that. There should be a solid answer. So you need to keep it simple. You need to move iteratively. It means that maybe you have a big plan, but you need to act small. Dream big, act small, so that you can change your plans, so that everything is changing in the world. Every night and day, people are working in test automation and bringing up new solutions, new tools, new frameworks. So you need to apply continuous learning in automation. But if you act big, you cannot apply continuous learning. So maybe you follow a plan, but that plan should be changeable, and that plan you need to act in a little step perspective. Also, with test automation, you need to optimize things in life. There is a book called Your Brain at Work. It says that human DNA is coded in that way, so that we want to put less effort and have more benefits. It is our lifestyle most of the time. So automation, I think, is just fitting to that position of our DNA. We are coded in that sense. We want to put in less, but to receive more and more. In order to do that, you need to do optimization with test automation, and also in the end, you need to eliminate waste. So don't do automation for just doing automation, is the other side. So what we do, we can apply divergent and convergent thinking, for instance. Divergent thinking tells you to understand all the different possibilities, all the opportunities, all the different test cases you may have, all the different areas of testing you may automate. But in the end, you need to do convergent thinking. It means that you need to prioritize things. You need to not to go for everything, but you need to synthesize the things, and you need to eliminate some, and you need to focus on a smaller set. Also, you need to apply time boxing is another perspective in test automation, I guess, which comes solidly with Scrum framework under Agile. It says their functionality, but I convert it into coverage. In most of the test automation projects, we say that this is the coverage we need, and this is the number of test cases we want to achieve, and we fix that coverage. And based on that coverage, we try to schedule the time and resources. We keep those variable, but in real life those things are not variable. Resources and time is fixed, my dear friends. So you need to fix resources and time, and based on your resources and based on the time you have given, you can achieve some fixed coverage. So you need to make coverage variable. So with these resources and with this fixed time, then yeah, this coverage I may reach, or some other coverage. But if you fix the coverage, then you are not in a correct way. So what else? Then how we can proceed on this area? I think to use artificial intelligence is a good option. Yeah, maybe currently artificial intelligence is not that intelligent, and is most of the case artificial, and we want it to be less artificial and more intelligent, but it will become so. So why not we use artificial intelligence in testing? Very currently, ISTQB also created the syllabus on that, and they have the syllabus for artificial intelligence testing, which is nice, I think, for the whole test community. And also, a lot of companies are heavily investing on test automation solutions with AI processes. And basically artificial intelligence is active in so many areas. There is machine learning, there is speech to text and text to speech conversion, there is the image recognition side, there are expert systems, planning and optimization, and robotics. So those are the areas, uh, technical disciplines under artificial intelligence. More or less, you know it. Yeah, but in the end, we need to make use of those capabilities in software testing. I don't know. People asking me, artificial intelligence will make us unemployed. That is for sure. So everyone will be unemployed of artificial intelligence. Yeah, some people are telling me, yeah, artificial intelligence maybe create some unemployment, but at the same time, it will also create new jobs. Yes, but how many? To tell you the truth, those expert systems, everyone, maybe in the a little bit longer time, we will be unemployed. Is my not yeah, we will shift ourselves to new positions. We will invest ourselves to train ourselves more to be more a sophisticated person. Yes, but in the end, I mean, where you have neuromorphic computing, though, that neural science with cognitive research, and that artificial intelligence currently, it is, we have three stages, and we are in the narrow intelligence stage right now. It means that some things artificial intelligence do them better than you, but most of the other things you do better than artificial intelligence. But we are shifting to artificial general intelligence. It means that maybe within 5 to 10 years time, AI applications would be as smart as you, and their decisions and their folk wisdom and their all the legacy they have would be as smart as you. And maybe in 20, 30 years time, I cannot be of course I cannot estimate it, or not any person in this session would estimate it easily, but in the end, we will go to the super intelligence zone, where artificial intelligence will be more intelligent than every person in the world, and also making the best decisions and having the best feelings or emotions. And also artificial intelligence is developing artificial intelligence, so we don't need any human to develop artificial intelligence. Of course, in the end, yeah, it's a little bit, yeah, we have time for that. So what we can do in testing, test automation with artificial intelligence, why not we use those mechanisms where the tool is healing, maintaining the tests itself, so that you don't put manual effort on hand coding your scripts to maintain and fix the problems. What about visual testing? We currently is widely used zone of test automation, where you are in a better way. You can have visual testing. The tool will compare the visuals to verify the points, and for the locators, most of the time their headache is done by the tool, so that we are also getting rid of those manual efforts, struggles. Why not we are using AI in the design, analysis, and generation of test data. So instead of a human being, AI would do those things. Why not? Also, converting some UI tests into API tests, which are more concrete, of course, because UI tests are, how can I say, they are brittle, so they are not that solid. They change from time to time. But what if we push it into the lower testing levels, so that we are in the more on the backend side integration level, so that some tool will do it for us. Also, some tools, they are just exploring the system under test, and they can generate test cases for us. So it's just randomly use an application, it's just do some exploration. We call it also spidering, and it's generating test cases for us. Could be very nice. Also, it makes us to just get rid of some other manual testing effort. What if it tells you where to do execution, what test cases to be skipping, what coverage you need to hold on to, or to want to achieve? So is those things, if they are we use artificial intelligence in that zone, why not? Also, for some manual processes, we have robotic process automation and the integration of RPA with artificial intelligence, so that by applying those principles and those zones that are already in place, we can have more automation in testing. These are some of the tools and solutions I like, because I see that some of the questions are coming from that part. So whether I can tell you some tool names, yeah, the best tool is like the best car, my friends. So I cannot tell you which is the best. It just needs to fit your needs. So for some of you, some tool would be the best. For some other tool would fit, but still, the best testers are the ones who are trying to learn new solutions, who try to get their hands dirty with the new technologies, and they try new tools. Whether you have a tool which is solid or not, it doesn't matter. You are happy maybe with your current solutions, but you still look for you still apply continuous learning. You try to use those things, and that will teach you a lot in test automation. So let me softly stop my session, so with some philosophy. So let me start by, yeah, life is simple, but we insist on making it complicated. Is a word from Confucius, by the way, which is quite the case. So why we are not keeping test automation simple? I cannot understand it. We try to make it as complicated as possible, so that as impossible, or so that in the end we spoil things. And you need to know that the greatest ideas and also the greatest projects, test automation activities, are the simplest ones. I have never really experienced the test automation project which is deeply sophisticated, complicated, very spread, and perfectly successful. I don't see that quite often, but I see simpler ones are the best ones. What about, and also people, they think that, yeah, simple, if it is simple, or if we have simplicity, it is lack of information. It doesn't mean that we don't do good things. It's not lack of information, but it means that it is only meaningful information. So in test automation, you need to skip uh, useless information. There are so many metrics and KPIs, and so many things are being captured, but maybe more than 90% are not related, not giving you any value. So why not applying the less is more principle on test automation? Also, you need to know by heart that simplicity doesn't come from nature. Nature itself is very complex. Human body is complex. All the environment, all the earth, all the galaxies, you see that they are really sophisticated. So in order to create something simple, you need to want it badly enough, you need to concern for that, you need to put a lot of effort for your test automation to make it simple. And also, in order to make it simple, you need to know the subject very well. It does if the only way you can simplify test automation is to know it well. If you don't know it really well, you cannot simplify it. And also, the simpler your reports and the presentation is, the greater it will have an impact on others. So it means that as a tester, you need to know where to ask for funding, how to spend funding, how to save funding, how to sell testing and test automation. This is important. So if you apply simplicity on that zone, then you are more understood and you can find more funding on those things. And yeah, simplicity is hard to achieve. Am I right? Maybe is easy to use, which we really wanted, and but it should be hard to design. So you need to push yourselves to have a simpler, more simple automation. And also by applying this, you need to know that you cannot solve everything in 1 second, in one step. People, many companies, when they come into test automation zone, they try to uh, create so many different stages. They started this project in so many different domains at the same time. They struggle with infrastructure, tool selection, planning, execution, reporting, and if those are different stages of test automation, why not we need to go one by one? uh, just we need to fix the biggest problem and then automate again and then go for the rest. And also, when I see test automation in most of the teams, it is not, it should be, people should feel the need for test automation. If you see that the audience, the team you are working in, they don't ask anything, and if you just tell them what they know and what is irrelevant for their job, I don't think test automation would fit into that team, because in the team there are designers, developers, analysts, product owner, whomever, also some testers, yes, but yeah, and there is the automation activity going on and you report those things to people, but they don't really ask for it, they don't question it, they don't ask for details. Then they feel that the information there is unrelated and irrelevant and doesn't make their life better. If it is the case, how can the team hold on to test automation, and how can you find those funding on test automation? And what we do in automation is, we, instead of trying to simplifying it, we try to teach people how to cope with complexity is not a good thing. Maybe instead you try to make things simpler so that people would not be afraid of test automation. So many testers in the field, they don't feel that it is, automation is not for me, and I'm afraid for that, because that it is so complex, there are so many things related to software development, database, network. Yeah, okay, if we know those things by heart, is we will be become better tester, but there is no full stack person in life. I don't feel that everyone will know everything, so why not we simplify the process so that we have more and more people on the process. Instead, we try to teach people to cope with complexity is another thing. And also, yeah, you need to set it as target, or you don't have the progress. And also, yeah, complexity means distracted effort, simplicity means focused effort. And also you need to know that automation requires dedication. Currently, with agile approach, people say that there is no segregation of duties, a tester should do manual testing, automation at the same time. Yeah, but from my heart, I feel that I want to have more time on test automation, and some other people would say the reverse. They would say that I want to do manual testing. So how can you act in that zone? So multitasking is nice, but to some extent. From that place, you need to do like an 80 to 20 rule, coming from Pareto. Maybe 80% of your time you focus on automation, and the rest 20% you would do manual testing in order to feed yourself, would be the best case. But you don't do it 50-50. Most of the case it doesn't work. And also, you need to keep on trying. Not the first solution, first automation script, first tool that works nice is not best for you. So you need to keep learning and keep focusing and keep interrupting things. And also, if you are not criticized by anyone, if no one is talking about automation, that should be the case, because they don't understand what you do. If people, they don't understand what you do and what is the objective of your all your efforts, and why do you use that for, they don't ask you questions. If they don't ask you questions, it doesn't mean that they are happy, but maybe the case that they don't understand what you really do. So also, don't go with mass production. A simple solution maybe create a life for you to have more and more test cases, but you need to stop some at some point. So you need to know that more test cases doesn't bring better decisions, or more test cases is not a thing to be achieved. So if you have a simple process for test automation, maybe it will encourage you to have more and more test cases, but it is not the case. So you need to again act in a perspective of less is more approach. So I think I have 4 minutes, so let me stop here. And thank you for listening to me. For sure, is a great subject to talk about. But yeah, let's see what problems you have for me.
Yeah, thank you, Baris. It was really inspiring, and also a lot of things that food for thought, what we can think about and actually try to implement it in our daily lives. I also want to use this opportunity to thank you for the hackathon you did in like I think 5 years ago. It's
Yes,
actually like I and part of my team was in that hackathon, and it inspired us to bring it back internally, and then we did it for a few more years internally, and then we went and did it like externally, and now it's like 3 years in a row we're doing external test mission hackathon. So thank you. You led by example, inspired us to do that. So
thank you so much. Thank you, Nikolai. Thank you so much. Yes.
and now with the questions. So, in your opinion, like Belinda is asking, in your opinion, what are the best automation tools and test case management tools in 2022? So, I think you answered that, but maybe anything
Yeah,
else
I
you could
think
add?
I have it, so we can mark it as answered. And I tell you, there is no best tool for myself. So it's not, I don't use that terminology. So you need to see what is good for you, not best for you. Also, the tool you are using is not the best tool for sure. If you investigate more, you will find a better one. So it's better to achieve for a good tool, is my perspective. So let's move on.
Okay. So, Martin is asking, so how can I automate more manually things in automation?
So I think my session was about that. So you need to check different tools. We have RPA, for instance, which is a perfect technology for us to have less human touch in redundant activities. Why not we use that in order to have less manual activities in automation? Also, I have shown you some activities like data generation, like exploration for creating test cases, like creating unit and API tests from user interface testing. So making more visual testing in a faster and easier way. So those are currently applicable. Those are in the field, but not all the testers are. They do know that. In most of the cases, we follow some trends. Like, okay, we have Selenium, we have Appium, we have those things, and let's jump onto those. But there are distinct solutions. Some small tools that make your life easier. So you need to investigate on those. And I think I showed to you more than 10 solutions to get your hands dirty for that.
Yeah, it's a good analogy to get hands dirty, hands-on experience. Yeah. Okay, so the next question, Agnieszka is asking, what is your opinion on test data management tools? Can you recommend any of those? I think,
Yeah, of course. Again, there is the IBM solution Optim. There is the CA solution Test Data Management. There is the Oracle solution, again, Test Data Manager. So there are so many different test data management tools that can explore your live database and can extract some subset of that data and can shuffle and mask that data in order to desensitize it and get rid of the sensitive data that is your customer data, and then insert it to a medium or a database that you desire. and you can use the data. And other for the next step, when you use the data and the data is already used and spoiled, then those tools have a mechanism to refresh the data with just one click. So you need to renew and refresh your data. So you can also check those tools.
Okay. Unfortunately, we are running out of time.
Running out of time.
We didn't manage to answer all the questions. Maybe you can contact Baris directly and then ask those questions and get the answers. And will invite you back in the 5 minutes to listen to Martin Jason talking about the secrets of the pyramids. So, see you in 5 minutes. Bye.